Hello, and welcome to another M.E.R.G.E marriage moment.
Yes.
I am Bernadette Badio.
And I'm Elder Nesly Badio.
And together we are the M.E.R.G.E directors for New Foundation Apostolic Ministries. And tonight we want to talk to you about 4 keys to acceptance in marriage. Whenever you get married and you're in a marital relationship, it's important for you to accept your spouse for who they are. And so we want to talk to you about 4 principles that we wanted to share and how you might go about doing that. And the first thing we want to talk about is acceptance. Accept your spouse for who they are. Sometimes people go into a relationship and they go into marriage thinking that they're going to change the person when they get there. And then they find out that that's not how it works. It can lead to sometimes feeling a little, despair or upset because, the spouse may not act the way that you want them to act or do the things that you want to do. It's because you went into it with the wrong sort of like concept of what accepting your spouse means.
Just like they said in Genesis, you leave your father and your mother and cling to your wife. So therefore, the two are become one. So that means you have to practice, come together to be one. So because you are not one. So it just when you come together, because God match you for your weakness, which is with your strongest.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to remember that when you come together, you are merging 2 lives, right? There are different dreams, there are different goals, and being married doesn't mean that you forget who you are before the process of marriage. So you want to accept your spouse for who they were when you met them. So accept them for who they are. The second point is allow. We want to allow room for our spouse to grow. Over time, we become different people, meaning that we grow and we evolve. We're not the same people that we were when we first got married. And so allow your spouse space to expand. Allow them space to grow and be their authentic self in the relationship.
And before you get married, you have a goal. So, and that's where you want to be, and what you want to accomplish in your life. But when you married now, you become one, the 2 of you, but that doesn't mean you lose that goal. So you can accomplish it. So the 2 better than 1. So therefore, if you can accomplish that, so which is 2 of you can make it better.
Absolutely. Unconditional love. Again, allowing that person to develop their own interests, allowing that person to draft you into some of their interests. Sometimes if you can introduce something new to your spouse, it could be something that you share together. But the space that you allow them to grow is important.
Yes.
So allow your spouse opportunity to grow. And the next one is align. In marriage, it could be very easy to get out of alignment when you lose track of what the goal is, and you lose track of what the purpose of your marriage relationship is. And when you lose track of who should be first at the top of your marriage and your relationship.
It's very important. That's what, for you marriage in the church. Because when you marriage in the church, therefore, now you have one person you can go to, which is God. So God, when you go to God, so you ask God to help you. So therefore, the 2 of you gonna be in one mind. And which is, it's not about who be first, who be second. The thing is, we helping each other. So that's what God is important to be in your life.
Absolutely. And whenever you find that you have gotten out of alignment, I would encourage couples to figure out what's going on. Like figure out what caused you to get out of alignment and work together to make sure that you working towards getting things back on track.
Yes.
The enemy is going to come. He's going to create friction. There's going to be problems. No perfect marriage. This is something that you have to work on. So if you find that you're getting out of alignment in your relationship, in your marriage, figure out what that is and work together to get back into alignment.
Exactly.
Loving on one another. And again, just unconditional love is so important. Not holding grudges. Making sure that you're being thoughtful and sharing what your concerns are. But whatever you do, don't allow your relationship to get out of alignment.
Correct, because the same relationship that you have before you get married, it's the same relationship because that's the same person. So therefore, why you know, when before you get married, so you were showing that you're in love, and then now you're married, and then which is this, that love should continue.
Absolutely.
And then therefore, like, if you come to a point, you see there's something not in the place. Therefore, that's one of the reasons they say both of you can pray about it, both of you can have a talk about it, and we can go to God together. You know, so therefore, if something's wrong, it can come along. So that's very important.
Absolutely. So work together to make sure that you are staying in alignment with your spouse, figuring out if there is an issue, what that issue is, and work on it together. The last point is acknowledge. And this goes hand in hand with the word align. You want to make sure that you're reminded that you're both flawed. You are both imperfect individuals. So you acknowledge in the fact that there may be times when you're not going to be in agreement. There may be times when you're not going to be on the same page with them. But working together, encouraging one another, and working toward that goal is going to help you to build a strong marriage and a strong foundation.
That's the reason I think we mentioned that in the past. So we are two different persons. So we come together to be one.
Right.
So therefore, your past and my past is not the same.
Right.
So therefore, we have to come together and learn each other. And that marriage, we're always learning. It doesn't matter how long you've been married. So you're always learning, because the thing is, my feeling and your feeling is not the same. So therefore, what I want to be, I want to that relationship that we have before marriage. So the same relationship, we can talk about it.
So again, acknowledge the fact that you two were two different people. And in our situation, it was two different cultures altogether. And so that was a learning process. It was a growing process. We had to figure some things out.
Yes.
Over time, but 32 years later, we're still learning. We are still growing. We are still evolving as, you know, as a couple. And as, you know, you were saying, you still learn together and you still grow together. And that's also acknowledging that things that I may have liked 10 years ago, it might change today. And so allowing you know, each other that space again to grow, to evolve, acknowledging, making sure that you're in alignment, and just accepting each other for who each other is in your marriage and your relationship is so very important.
Yeah, because I think sometimes people are looking at televisions and they see how a perfect marriage is a perfect couple. But the thing is, it's just television.
A script.
So yeah, exactly, it's just a script. So because it's the same thing when you were courting or you were dating. So everything just flourish. And then the same thing, now you're married, you see, oh, it's not the same thing. So now it is now you're learning from each other. Before you were compromised at each other. You're compromising. But now when you're married, now you're just learning how to live together. So it's very important just to do that and to communicate, because without communications, therefore, there will be no marriage.
That is very true. That is very true. And I like the fact that you were saying that before you get married, there are a lot of things that you may not know about each other yet until you get married and you're living together, and you have to come into alignment with that spouse. But again, it's a growing process. It's a learning process. So we hope that these 4 principles will help you to understand why it's so important for you to have good acceptance, or a good principle of acceptance in your marriage and a relationship. Accept your spouse for who they are. Make sure that there is alignment, acknowledging the fact that neither one of you are perfect. You know, there are going to be times when there are going to be some mistakes that are made, but making sure that you're working on those together. You're coming together to make sure that you are on the same page, and allowing your spouse to be who they are is so important. So drop down below some thoughts that you have regarding these 4 principles. If you have any questions for us, we would love to hear from you.
Yes.
And as always, happy merging.
Happy merging.